Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Welcome to the New York Markets Follow session this afternoon. How are we doing? So, I'll be going through a recap of what was said in the morning, and then we'll look at it together. Starting with the DXY, right? We say a bullish run on the DXY this from last week Friday into this week, right? And then on Friday, on last week Monday into Thursday, and then on Friday we saw a sell-off, right? And then the way it's looking now, I could see that price might begin to correct again. Excuse me. Price might begin to correct again using our Fibonacci. This is like a retracement into 50% for price to eventually continue the movement to the upside once more, right? So that being said, we might be looking at bullish movement on DXY as a whole because of this long bullish movement. We had the initial bullish rally and then a retracement, a sharp retracement, which start already on 50%, probably might go a bit lower into 61.8, and then that would reverse the market into the upside. That's a possibility. All right. Looking at the second part, which is the Euro USD. Euro USD is also very, very much bearish. However, we had a rally on Friday, right? The NFP caused that rally on Friday, and then price is beginning to do what? It's beginning to, correct itself again for a sell-off, for continuation of that sell-off, right? It was a sharp drop and a sharp, look at the sharp drop, sharp return, right? So we should see that sell-off continuing on the daily time frame for Euro USD. Right? And for our time frame, is there anything special? Nothing really. We want to see like a break of structure better, right, to the downside. As it looks now, it's still very, very much looking bullish, right? However, by into this week, today is just Monday, into Tuesday until Wednesday, we should have gotten better price action. Right? We've not had much of movements today. That's been more of consolidation, and it's quite normal, right? Even I'm thinking we might have like a bit of consolidation all through this week because we had quite significant moves last week, right? The market has been ranging from Asia into even New York, right? So for that reason, we just have to be patient, and until we get more valid entry, we wouldn't want to engage this market yet. The third one, which is GBP USD, also the same thing on the higher time frame. All of them, we have almost similar what's it called now, price action across board, right? It tapped into 50%, and then see the continuation. You can see already on the daily time frame, this is giving like a head, shoulder, head, shoulder kind of thingy, right, on the daily time frame. All right, so price has broken to the lower, to the downside, right? And then we have structure beginning to print to the downside, which is significant. Anybody here can see and would realize that this market is extremely is beginning to turn structure for a sell, right? So, and for that reason, we would want to see a retracement into 50%, and then we will now start to take ourselves in this market. All right. That being said, let's look at the yen basket. Yen has been bullish for quite some time now. That's since on Friday, yeah, been bearish, but then Friday we saw that push to the upside, and I strongly believe this push should still continue, and because we have like a diagonal liquidity around the zone. Yeah, we have like a diagonal liquidity, and then we should see this push sweep all of that liquidity, right? And that will cause and GJ and Euro JPY to sell. All right. That being said, let's look at the pound yen. Pound yen, the sell is just beginning to start off, right? This sell is just beginning to start off. Let me put on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, this is like a proper box strategy, right? For those that understand how it works. This is like a proper box strategy around this zone, around this entire zone here, right? So we have a fair value gap, we have under breakout block plus fair value gap is under strong zone. Might see and start to sell off from this zone, right? These two zones are a very good zone for us to look at for a sell, because the market is extremely, you know, um bearish, right? It's beginning to go bearish, and we have a long way to go on this yen sell, right? Even up until this zone, 192 spots 204 levels looks very valid, right? That being said, let's move quickly to Euro JPY. Also on Euro JPY, we had that, structure, that I mean the box pattern. However, price hasn't gotten there yet. This zone will have looked very juicy for a, sell-off, but then we don't have that yet. But then it can still come back, right? And is this just the beginning of the week? We still have a long way to go in terms of our price, the direction of price this week. So it's not I'm not giving up yet on what can happen. A lot of things can happen. But yes, JPY should see a massive sell-off, right? At least on Friday, we had a massive sell-off. This looks like a valid point of the market's reacting off from, right? The price just tap into this breakup, breakup block, and then to continue to the downside. That's one possibility. And what level? I expect I will see a bounce off from this level. Yeah, we'll see price bouncing up from this level, right? But then a retest into this zone looks valid, or except price for any reason begins to move we have a continuation downwards from this zone, and then we'll see a retest into this other block, right? But then if for any reason price correct itself into this zone, it should start selling off to the downside, right? That being said, we'll look at gold, then quickly look at what gold is doing, right? On the daily time frame, we saw that bullish rally on Friday. NFE was quite interesting, right? And then saw a rally to the upside, which is good to know. But then good for me is still like in a very interesting zone, right? We don't have a clear structure yet. This look for anyone that understand basic market structure, this is a consolidating market, and higher lows are not being made, new lows are not being formed, new highs are not being formed, right? So it's a ranging market, and for that reason, personally, I wouldn't advise that it is being traded, right? I wouldn't advise it being traded because there's no new um low that is being formed. Likewise, highs too. No new highs, no new lows, it's just there yet. But then sentiment speaking, using sentiment analysis to qualify what's going to happen, I believe it's still going to buy, right? I believe it's still going to buy. But then technical analysis, what is the market saying technical wise, or especially on the higher time frame, is that we just keep our hands off for a while before we engage the market. All right, guys, that's been all for today. Our guys, for our gold guys, that's Lincoln and CJ, and unavailable and beyond their control, they are unavailable, so we have to step in. So if you have any question as regards the analysis being made, DXY, pound, basket, gold, and you can just ask in the comment section, and then we'll look at it together, and then we'll make sense of it together. If you have any question, you can ask in the comment section if you have any question. So, and also thank you so much for those that followed TBC Abuja 2025. It was awesome. It was massive. Thank you for the following. Thank you for those that came physically, right, to the event. That's the pair Jabi link, right? Thank you for coming. It was beautiful with you there, and for our online audience that followed through, you guys are the the real MVPs. Thank you for joining. I see there are no questions this afternoon. All right, thank you so much. Tomorrow we meet for indices asset class. That's US 30, S&P 500, and NAS 100, and also on commodity related asset class, right? All right, thank you so much for joining, and we'll meet again tomorrow by 8:30 and 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Cheers and God bless.